You never really notice how heavy the silence feels until the world stops demanding something from you. The moment your shift ends, the moment the door closes behind you, the moment the lights change from hospital brightness or factory glare or office screens into the soft dullness of early morning, the weight finally catches up. All of it, everything you ignored so you could function, everything you pushed aside so you could get through another hour, everything you pretended you didn't feel because feeling it would have made the night harder, and now it's here, all at once, waiting for you quietly. There's something strange about the hours after a night shift. It's not just exhaustion. It's not just sleepiness. It's a kind of emotional gravity, a pull from inside your chest that you can't explain to anybody who hasn't lived through these backwards hours. Your body is awake, but your mind is soft. Your thoughts feel slow, like they're moving through fog. Everything you avoided starts drifting back toward you, one quiet thought at a time. You always tell yourself you'll rest. You'll unwind. You'll put everything down. But the moment you step out, you realize rest isn't a choice. It's a negotiation. A negotiation with your own mind. A negotiation with a life that never learned how to make space for the hours you keep. You've been awake for too long. But the world is awake now too. That's the strange part. Your exhaustion rises at the exact moment everyone else is beginning again. Their morning is your ending. Their sunrise is your unraveling. Their routine is your collapse. And somehow, you're expected to switch just like that. Turn your brain off like a lamp. Turn your emotions down like a volume knob. Slow your heartbeat on command. Fall asleep in a world full of noise and responsibility and sunlight and expectations that don't match the hours you live in. Even when you don't realize it, your mind has been fighting for you all night, holding you together, keeping you alert, holding up the parts of you that wanted to fall apart at 2 a.m. or 4 a.m. or whenever your body begged for softness. You didn't have the luxury to give it. And now, after your shift, it's like everything drops at once. The mask, the strength, the momentum, the thoughts you kept pushing away. You start to notice the things you ignored, the ache in your legs, the burn behind your eyes, the quiet fear that you're becoming someone who lives between the cracks of everyone else's schedule. Someone drifting in a rhythm that feels impossible to sustain. You tell yourself you're fine. You always do. You have learned to function on less sleep, less space, less time, less emotion. But there's a difference between functioning and living, and deep down, you know that. After your night shift, everything feels louder inside your head. Not frantic, not chaotic, just louder. Like your mind is finally able to speak now that you're no longer drowning in tasks or conversations or fluorescent lights or non-stop responsibility. You start remembering things you didn't want to think about, decisions you avoided, promises you postponed, dreams you paused because real life demanded too much of you, people you didn't respond to, feelings you pushed into the corners of your chest because you didn't have the energy to feel them. And there's guilt. Not loud guilt, not dramatic guilt. Just a quiet, persistent sense that you're always behind. Behind on sleep, behind on life. Behind on the version of yourself you wish you were becoming. And you hate that feeling. You don't talk about it, but you carry it. There's also that strange emptiness, the one that no one tells you about. The emptiness that comes from holding yourself together for too many hours in a row. When the shift ends, you're supposed to feel relief, but sometimes you just feel blank, like the part of you that should feel proud or accomplished or relieved is too tired to show up. You know you should go home. You know you should sleep. But your body is buzzing in a way only exhaustion can create, wired and drained at the same time. Your thoughts drift. Your emotions feel loose. Your sense of time dissolves a little. That's the thing about night shifts. They change your relationship with time. They stretch it, bend it, blur it, make it feel like you're drifting slightly outside of your own life. Sometimes you wonder what this lifestyle is doing to you, not physically, emotionally. What it's doing to your sense of self. What it's doing to your ability to connect, to feel present, to feel grounded, to feel human in a world that runs on hours you're never truly awake for. But you don't say it out loud, because people wouldn't understand. To them, tired is simple. To you, tired is a language, a state of being, a shadow that follows you long after the shift ends. After your night shift, you become soft in a way you can't be during work. Your mind becomes honest. You start noticing the things you hide from yourself, the quiet thoughts you bury under responsibility, the feelings you numb because you don't have the time or energy to unpack them. You realize you've been carrying questions you never answer. Why do you feel disconnected? Why does rest never feel enough? Why do you keep pushing yourself past your own limits? Why do you feel like you're always on the edge of burnout, but never fully allowed to break? You don't say these things, but you feel them every day, every night, and especially after your shift. In those hours when your mind finally has the space to breathe and the courage to whisper truths you don't want to face. You walk home or drive home or sit quietly on your bed, and the world around you looks almost unreal. Like you're moving through a dream you didn't mean to enter. Everything is too bright or too quiet or too indifferent to the tiredness sitting inside your bones. You start to notice how lonely this life can feel, not because you're alone, but because your timing never matches anyone else's. When you're awake, others are asleep. When you're free, others are busy. When you want connection, the world is unavailable. When you want silence, the world is loud. You start thinking about yourself in ways you don't during the shift. You wonder who you're becoming. You wonder what parts of you have been neglected. You wonder how long you can keep pretending that this lifestyle hasn't changed you in ways you didn't choose. You're not broken, but you're tired in ways you don't know how to explain. And you wish, sometimes, that someone would look at you and understand it without you having to translate your exhaustion into words that never capture its depth. Because after your night shift, you're not just tired, you're exposed. Emotionally open in a way daylight makes you hide. Vulnerable in a way responsibility doesn't allow. Human in a way the world rarely sees. And maybe that's why this moment, the moment after your shift ends, feels like the truest version of you. The version that isn't performing or pretending or functioning. The version that is simply here, breathing, hurting, thinking, existing, trying to understand yourself, trying to stay afloat, trying to make sense of the life you keep upholding while ignoring your own needs. And maybe that's where it all begins, the awareness, the quiet honesty. The moment you finally stop long enough to hear the truth echoing inside your chest. You can only be strong for so long. You can only carry exhaustion for so long. You can only outrun yourself for so long. After your night shift, you finally hear the part of you that you've been too busy or too tired to listen to. The part that whispers, "You can't keep living like this." There's a moment right after your night shift when the world feels too sharp, the lights feel too bright, the sounds feel too close, your thoughts feel too loud. Every small thing feels like it demands more from you than you have left to give. You start noticing how fragile you feel, not weak, just fragile. Like your mind is made of thin glass and the smallest pressure might cause a crack. You don't have the strength to hide. You don't usually think this way during the shift. You don't have time to. You're too busy doing, moving, responding, surviving. But the second everything stops, your mind starts moving in directions you didn't ask it to. You start asking questions that don't have answers. Why am I always this tired? Why do I feel like I'm missing something? Why does it feel like I'm living outside my own life? Why can't I rest the way I'm supposed to? Why do I keep pretending I'm fine? You don't ask these questions out loud. You don't have the words for them. You barely have the energy for them. But they rise anyway, quietly climbing through your thoughts because exhaustion makes honesty impossible to hide. And maybe that's what scares you, not the tiredness, but the honesty that comes with it. Because after your night shift, there is no distraction, no noise to drown yourself in, no momentum to carry you. There is only you, your mind, your thoughts, your truth. And the truth is heavier than anything you carried during the shift. You start to feel the loneliness that hides itself during the hours when you're busy. The kind of loneliness that doesn't come from being alone, but from being out of sync with the world. Everyone else is waking up. You're shutting down. Everyone else is beginning their day. You're ending yours. Everyone else is moving forward. You're fading out, and it's not your fault. But it feels like it is. There's a part of you that thinks you should be stronger, more disciplined, more normal, more capable of handling this without feeling it so deeply. But you're not a machine. You're not designed for these hours. You're not meant to flip your biology like a switch on a wall. You tell yourself you're used to it, but that's not the same thing as being okay. You convince yourself you can handle it, but convincing isn't the same as coping. Your body does what it must. Your mind adjusts in the only ways it knows. You reshape your life around a schedule that doesn't care about your humanity. And somehow, you feel guilty for struggling, guilty for being tired, guilty for needing rest, guilty for wanting more than this. But after your night shift, your guilt doesn't hide. It sits in your chest like a weight. It whispers things you don't want to hear. It reminds you of every moment you postponed rest, ignored pain, chose survival over self, pushed yourself beyond reason, and you feel it, all of it. The truth is, you've been tired for longer than you admit. Not just physically, emotionally, spiritually, silently. You carry a type of tiredness that doesn't go away with one day of sleep. A tiredness that lives beneath your ribs. A tiredness that has learned to pretend. After your night shift, you finally see that tiredness. You finally feel the weight you've been conditioning yourself to carry. It's strange how exhaustion works. How it reveals parts of you you don't let yourself see when you're fully awake. How it makes you honest in a way clarity never could. You start remembering the things you've been avoiding, the conversations you never had, the boundaries you never set, the emotions you never addressed, the habits you've slipped into, the life you've been putting on hold. Night shift life forces you to run, but after your shift, there's nowhere left to run to. You're alone with yourself, and maybe that's the hardest part. There's a version of you that only appears after your night shift, a quieter version, a softer version, a version that is far more honest than the one who keeps everything together at 3 a.m. This version of you remembers things. It remembers the dreams you pushed aside, the people you miss but don't call, the promises you made and abandoned, the emotions you swallowed because you didn't have time, the exhaustion you pretended wasn't affecting you, the parts of yourself you kept sacrificing to make room for surviving. You want to sleep, but your mind wants to talk. You want to shut down, but your thoughts want to open up. You want silence, but your heart has things it wants to say. And so you lie there, caught between the need to rest and the need to feel. You start replaying moments from the shift, things you wish you handled differently, things you wish you didn't have to carry, things you wish you could forget. But your mind doesn't work like that when you're tired. It holds on to everything, every detail, every fear, every small thing that slipped through emotional cracks. You tell yourself you're fine, but you know fine isn't the same as okay. You've been running on borrowed energy, energy taken from parts of yourself you can't afford to lose, and now you feel it. The depletion, the emptiness, the unfinished pieces of yourself you keep trying to glue together with hours you don't have. After your night shift, you begin to realize just how much you've been expecting of yourself. You begin to see how unfairly you treat your body, your mind, your limits. But you don't blame yourself, because you know, somewhere inside you, that you never had the choice to live a balanced life. Your schedule demands everything. Your job demands everything. Your responsibilities demand everything. Your world demands everything. And you keep giving, because you don't know how not to. But the quiet truth is this: you're tired of pretending, tired of surviving, tired of being strong when no one sees you fall apart, tired of waking up in the wrong part of the day, tired of feeling disconnected from your own life, tired of carrying a weight that never seems to lighten. You know sleep will help. It always does. But sleep doesn't erase the emotional truth that rises after your night shift. Sleep doesn't fix loneliness. Sleep doesn't fix disconnection. Sleep doesn't fix the feeling that you're living a life parallel to the world, never fully inside it. And maybe that's what hurts most. The feeling of existing on the outside, watching life happen through glass. You don't want to feel this way. Not forever, not even today. But you do. You're human. And that humanity becomes painfully clear when your shift ends and you're finally alone with yourself. The darkness didn't break you. The work didn't break you. The hours didn't break you. What breaks you is the honesty that comes after. The honesty you've been too busy to hear. The honesty exhaustion pulls to the surface. The honesty that whispers, you can't keep carrying all of this alone. And in that moment, you understand something quietly heartbreaking. Your body isn't the only part of you that needs rest. Your mind does too. Your heart does too. Your sense of self, fragmented by endless nights, needs rest in ways sleep alone can't give you. But you're trying. You always have been. Even when you feel like you aren't. Even when you're too tired to see it. even when the world has no idea how much strength it takes just to make it through another shift. And after your night shift, you see that strength and the cost of it more clearly than ever. There's a certain heaviness that settles into your chest after a night shift, not the dramatic kind, not the overwhelming kind, but the quiet heaviness that feels like something inside you has been stretched too far and hasn't found its way back yet. You try to breathe normally, try to convince yourself you're fine, but the breath feels different. It feels shallow. It feels tight. It feels like your body is trying to hold itself together, even though the shift is already over. And maybe you don't talk about it, but you feel it every time. The emotional aftermath. The strange, slow unraveling that only begins when everything else stops. There's a version of you that only wakes up once your shift ends, a version that's too honest, too raw, too unfiltered to exist when you're busy. It's the version that asks questions you've been avoiding for weeks. It's the version that notices the tension in your shoulders and the numbness in your thoughts and the exhaustion you've been pushing past because you didn't have the luxury to stop. And this version of you isn't dramatic. It isn't crying. It isn't spiraling. It's just tired, deeply tired. Tired in a way that feels ancient, as if the tiredness didn't start yesterday or last week, but somewhere much earlier, somewhere quiet, somewhere you don't like to look. You move through your home like you're walking through a dream where everything feels slightly out of place. You drop your keys somewhere without remembering where. You forget to take off your shoes. You stare at nothing for a moment too long. Your body tries to slow down,